guys, Mike the Bike here, back for yet another video. This time around we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video. I guess this is a video for someone looking into gaming laptops. And for my subscribers that are watching this, it may not be important to you, so if you aren't looking for a gaming laptop, then maybe you're in the wrong video, but that's kind of expected. Anyway, so I'm just going to start out right away where I'm coming from and maybe a few little things. So I've owned a few gaming laptops, honestly. My first was a Asus G73, then an Alienware M14X, MSI GT70. I think that's it, but I think I might have owned another one. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I've owned a few laptops out there, and I have a pretty good idea of the quality, and I've spent way too many hours looking into gaming laptops. Laptops are just something that I really find interesting, and there's a lot of competition out there comparing different models. And yeah, you might be thinking, oh, what a rich kid or whatever, but in reality, the only one, like, I buy and sell a lot of things, so maybe not me, but let's say we buy, or like my dad or whatever buys a laptop, and I try it out for whatever, like a month or whatever it is, 6 months even, and I'll always sell it again. So like recently I got that MSI GT70, that's basically sold. I just need to get it to him, but he wants to. Anyway, I'm just busy. So I'm always buying and selling, so really it's just like I temporarily own the things, but if I yeah, you get the idea. I don't own all of them still. I sold the Asus, got rid of the Alienware, and getting rid of the MSI. Anyway, that's just a little bit of personal info. Yeah, again, lots of hours looking into this stuff, and I've owned a few of them myself, and I've seen a bunch of them from friends owning similar models and stuff like that. Now, this is another thing. If you are a desktop person, everybody knows that obviously a desktop is way more powerful, and you can build twice the machine in terms of power when it comes to a desktop. And everybody knows that. You don't need to say that. That's kind of ignorant. It's just everybody knows that. Obviously, if you just want sheer performance and not portability, you want a desktop. That's just simple. However, laptops are obviously designed for portability. So if you're looking, like, desktops, as most people know, hopefully, are not portable at all, unless you can lug around a desktop, your keyboard, your mouse pad, your monitor, and all the cables associated with all that stuff. So you get the idea. Like, obviously laptops are more portable, and that's why you're here, probably because you're looking into good ones. So anyway, let's start. So I've got a list. This is probably the first commentary I've ever done where I have notes. So I tried to write down the main companies. There's a few of them, but of course there are other options, but you want to keep in mind that a lot of them are just rebrands of the same machine. So a really popular one is Sager or MSI. So I know that, like, Eurocoms are built off Sager cases and stuff like that, and there's a bunch of, like, ones made by MSI cases, just their bare bones case. So yeah, I'm not going to include those. I'm just going to talk about the original companies, sort of. So the first one is the Sager, and in general, these are usually a great value, but they're a little bit plain, and they're not flashy. If that's your style, then, and you don't mind looking very plain, then it's okay. Like, obviously, if you walk into a classroom with something like this, it's not going to stick out, or at least until you open it, or before you open it. It's not going to stick out. It's just going to be just a laptop. Maybe most people think it's a little big, but it just looks like a laptop. It's obvious, as long as you keep it closed, it doesn't look like a gaming laptop. Obviously, when you turn on most of these, people will know that it's a more performance rig, as it's got usually the light up keyboard. Anyway, these are great value, plain looking, but if you like the style, go for it. But in general, they're just average. Like, they're cheap. They work well, they're not too loud, not too quiet, good temperatures, no overheating, a usable keyboard. I know a guy that has one, and yeah, again, it's just usable. It's not the best keyboard in the world. Obviously, it's fully lit, and it's like an Alienware, and it has a lot of features, just a little bit plain. And I know that some people have had issues. I've read on way too many forums. Like, I do a lot of anyway. Some people have had issues, whether it be like the microphone jack or something has a problem, but I'd imagine that you could just return it and it'd be okay. So if you're okay with it looking a little bit plain, it's a little bit thick, but most of these machines are thick as they're performance rigs. And yeah, they just look a little bit plain. They're not designed well. They're just, here's a computer, it runs things very well. It looks not flashy, it's very clean and simple. So if that's what you're looking for and you don't mind maybe the possibility of it not working and you might have to take it in or something, then that might be a viable option, but don't be disappointed if it has a problem, you know, because it's not the best quality control as far as I've seen. The next company is MSI, and they're a very high quality company. Where I don't know their location, but they're doing a good job. They make high quality machines. They look good depending on your opinion of good, I guess. I think they look okay, but there are a lot of plastic parts on the MSIs, and especially like the GE series is almost entirely plastic, at least for now. Maybe they'll update that. But yeah, they usually look pretty good. The build quality is great, and these are kind of a step up to the Sager. I'm not necessarily ranking them. It's all depending on what you're looking for, but they're fine. The keyboard, all the features though, are basically a step up compared to the Sager. The keyboard, I'd say, is much better. The audio quality is miles better. And actually, yeah, the one thing about the Sager is they do have some audio problems too. Anyway, MSI, great audio, like the best audio I've heard from a laptop. That, like, because I had an MSI GT70, and great keyboard, probably the best keyboard I've had. Very powerful. They can be a little bit loud, but of course you do get mediocre temperatures. Like, you're still getting the temperatures are just average, even though it's a little bit loud, which is interesting. But yeah, it runs fine. And yeah, in general, they work great for what they are. There's two versions that I'm going to talk about here. The GT and the GE series. Two very different platforms. The GT series are mostly desktop replacements. So if you're looking for, you want a desktop but you want to move around a little bit, then you want the GT series. They are usually very powerful and they aren't too expensive, but keep in mind if you're getting a gaming laptop, they're probably going to be pretty expensive no matter what route you go. Anyway, yeah, they're going to be super powerful, the GT series. They're going to run great, and in general, great machines, but the disadvantage to them obviously is portability. So if you want something more portable, and you're looking for an MSI, the better option would be the GE series. Now, they aren't as powerful, however, you trade the power for portability. They're much more portable, they weigh a lot less, usually the screen size is smaller. However, you can get large screens of the GE. And the GE is also pretty affordable. I know that the next gen, like the 765M and all that, is only something like $1,200 for i7, 1080p, all that. Like, you're getting all the features for a very good deal, honestly. And yeah, they're great, but the GE series is full plastic, as far as I know, whereas the GT has little metal elements. So they may not look the best, and I'm not sure about sturdiness, but they should be okay. Like, reviews have said they're fine. There can be a few problems, and obviously with all these companies there might be the odd hiccup and they may not work so well, but you could just return it or whatever. Now, next one is Asus, and I had a Asus G73, and these machines are usually extremely high quality. As most of you know, Asus is super well known for their great warranties, great customer service, and great computers and components. The fans on these laptops are usually dead quiet. On max performance, you barely, like, it's great compared to something like an Alienware or MSI or any of them. They're the most quiet in the industry, basically. At the moment, they're usually not as powerful as like the MSIs or whatever. However, you trade the performance a little bit for the quality. and Asus are very well known for the high quality. However, the whatever next gen is, G85 series, because right now we're on G75. Apparently, I was looking on a forum and I found one that apparently they might have a 780M, like a Asus G85 whatever VW with a 780M, which is great because that's super powerful. So they're finally going into making higher end machines more powerful. So yeah, that'll be a very powerful and good decision, because Asus laptops are known to be great, but they're not the most powerful in the industry. However, in terms of quality, I'd say they are probably one of the best out there. And other than that, great keyboard, the one I had and the one I've seen at stores, like the G75. Just a nice, chiclet style keyboard. The audio is usually, again, just great. In general, these are very great machines, great quality. And if they make that G85 with the 780M, they basically have all the benefits of the other companies, just higher quality. I would consider that one of the best companies that makes laptops out there for gaming. And again, the disadvantage to the G85 and 75 and 65 and so on is that they're not very portable. These are, again, desktop replacements. And recently they came up with a G46, which was an interesting laptop. Very thin, very small, but the price to performance wasn't so good. But maybe they'll make a new revision of that with the next gen, and that might be an option if you want an Asus but smaller. However, I haven't found any information so far on that. The next one, this is a smaller company, Lenovo. Well, they're not necessarily small, but they're very new to the gaming stuff, and they have a few products out there that are good quality. However, these are just low-end machines in reality. Like, the quality is there, and they look pretty stylish, really, and they're pretty portable, but they're just meant as, like, portable machines before gaming. Like, whatever their Y500, I think it is, has, like, a GT 650 or 750M. So, again, just, just sort of gaming, but not super gaming. And then, their step up from that, but it looks crappier, is the whatever it is. So again, these are just budget machines, and they're just going to get average scores for everything. You probably won't have any problems with them. You probably won't have any problems with any of these laptops. But Lenovo is just a cheaper company. Next one is probably the most well-known, Alienware. This is obviously a premium machine, and I'll explain why. And they're great machines, really. There can be quality control options or problems, but the thing is, all these companies are bound to have some quality control issues. Like, you'll never get 100%, so you might have a few faulty errors, but most of the time most companies will have reasonable service, so you can just get a new one. They're usually, Alienware is again next to Asus in terms of quality. I understand that Dell and stuff, and some people don't like the quality control or whatever. The one that I had, you could always tell that this was a very tough machine, and it wasn't going to break down or anything unless you like abused it. In terms of power, obviously the power is there. It's Alienware. This is not the most budget machine. I mean, all these are probably pretty expensive. Like, these are all $1,000 plus machines, except for maybe the Lenovo. But Alienware is one of the almost the highest end. Razer is the most. But anyway, Alienware is great machines. They aren't actually that much more expensive, really. Like, yes, it's $200 or $300 more for the same specs, but you're getting better quality and probably better, build quality. Really, it's again, all of these has a very unique look, and I can't say which one is the best. It all depends on what you're looking for. So if you do want a super flashy, you walk into a room and everybody knows that's an Alienware, that's a high-end machine, that guy's probably got lots of money or whatever, then the Alienware is obviously the choice. And there's a lot of people out there that like that flashiness, and I don't necessarily, I used to not like Alienwares. I didn't think the flashiness was that cool, but really, I'm starting to like them a little bit more. But anyway, I'm going to keep my opinions outside of this. This is just observations and facts. Alienware, very powerful, a little bit thick, The prices are a little bit expensive, but in the end they have very good components, fantastic audio, fantastic keyboard, usually great displays. I know that the next gen is IPS panels, so, and it's matte, so thank God finally it'll be no reflections. So yeah, great machines, just a little bit of expensive, but these are all expensive machines anyway. Alienware, you just pay for, in the end, just a little bit more flashiness, and in general they feel very good to handle, and they feel powerful, really. So just to be more specific on the specific Alienware models, there's 3 models that they offer, the Alienware 14, 17, and 18. The 14 is our obviously 14-inch model, 17, 17-inch model, and 18, the 18-inch. 14-inch is obviously the most portable, and if you're a student, this is probably the option to go with. The 17 is someone that wants a desktop replacement but wants to move around a little bit, and then the M18 or the 18 is just if you want basically a desktop with a super big screen. Like 18-inch is unheard of. Like usually 17.3 is it. So it's obviously massive, but if that's what you're looking for, M18X is definitely a viable option, but it's obviously not super portable, but it's got portability compared to a desktop. Like with the M18X, even their lowest end model is SLI 760s, I think, or 765Ms, so lots of power, but again, it just depends what you're looking for. Now, I just looked at the new Alienware 14 and 17 and so on, and just a little bit of a side note, it seems as though the Alienware 14 looks even thicker than the old model, so it is probably going to be a little bit heavy, and I'm not sure how the portability will be, honestly. I'm not sure what judges portable. Like, is it thinness, or is it the screen size? In my opinion, it's probably the screen size. But then again, I wouldn't want to carry around a 20-pound, 1-inch laptop or whatever it may be. So I don't know. It looks a little thick, but Alienware is a pretty high-end company, so they must know what they're doing. And we'll see what happens in terms of reviews. It isn't fully out yet. I think it's coming out July 17 is when they ship them. So yeah, we don't know yet. So all we can do is wait. Now, just one thing about the Alienwares. With my M14X that I had, it was really loud, and the drivers were a little bit tough. Like I couldn't install just from NVIDIA, that you only had to use the Dell Direct ones, which were super out of date. So it might actually have a few problems, the Alienware 14 and 17, but there is a new design, so maybe they improved it. But the old design, like the R3, I guess, or is it R2? I don't know. The old design, it was very loud. Like as soon as you booted up a game, the fans would just go crazy. And it was definitely way louder than the MSI and miles louder than the Asus. So those are just, that's just one thing to consider. And yeah, if you look at the new design on the Alienware 14, you'll notice that like the bottom is entirely ventilated, so it might actually be a lot quieter. And again, more on the Alienware, the design is again totally upon opinion. It depends what you're looking for. To some it might look too odd, but to some they might enjoy the oddness, and really it's just a noticeable machine. It's like a, I don't know, like a high expensive car or something. It's flashy kind of. And another side note, and in general about all these laptops, a lot of them are so similarly spec'd because the competition is so high that really in terms of performance they're all going to be generally about the same. So for example, the Alienware 14, the upgraded model, has a GTX 765M. The Razer Blade 14 inch model again has a GTX 765M. The MSI GE60, yet again, GTX 765M. So a lot of the times the specs are going to be basically the same, but you want to keep an eye out. The next one is Razer. Now, they're very new to this, but they're doing a good job. Very good quality, the thinnest in the industry in terms of gaming laptops. And temps are actually surprisingly good, and that also goes for the Razer, or the Alienware. The temperatures are fairly good, just average. Anyway, back to the Razer. The temps are actually really good for the thinness. They've got a unique cooling system in there, and you can go find benchmarks, and it actually runs fairly well. However, these are obviously very, very high end. This is the most expensive for performance out there. However, they're the only guys doing this kind of thing right now where it's super, super thin, like as thin as a MacBook Air. They're super thin, very powerful this gen anyway. Last gen was not so powerful, but now they've actually got some very good performance, especially for that thinness. So yeah, they're the only guys doing this kind of super thin design so far, and they can, because there's no competition, they can kind of charge what they want, and because they aren't selling so many right now, they have to sell it for that much. And yes, I understand, we'll just lower it by $300 and people will buy it, but that's not how they think. So, and maybe the losses and stuff isn't worth it, but if you want something super thin and actually really powerful, the Razer is obviously the option for you. The keyboard, as far as I know, is all, like, these are all in reality very high-end machines no matter what company you go, and because the competition is so steep, no matter what method you go, they're all going to be very good machines. Most of the time it's just going to be about personal preference and budget and stuff like that. So there is no best keyboard, best audio. You have to use the machines and then decide for you which one you like the best. So yeah, that was a long commentary, but I do know a lot of I've done a lot of research and looking into these machines a ton, and this is kind of one of my I like looking into laptops. I'm always curious about what's next and what the companies are doing. I'd imagine that some companies will probably jump into this thin gaming laptops thing, because if Razer's doing it, I think MSI is going to jump into it. I don't know about Alienware. Alienware probably won't. And yeah, that basically sums it up. They're all very good machines. No matter what one you go with out of this, you're probably going to have a fabulous machine. They all have their unique pros and cons, but if you're having a tough time deciding, I would almost just flip a coin, because no matter what one you go with, you're probably not going to be disappointed. And obviously you do have to keep in mind what you're looking for. So in the case of, for example, the MSI, there's the GT and the GE. Which one do you want? And I think I've done a good job explaining these things, so that's really it, guys. I hope I've helped some of you. I almost guaranteed missed a whole bunch of stuff, but I tried my best. Hopefully this was helpful to some of you. If you want to see more laptop videos, I've done a lot of research into them. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments below. Anyway, guys, that's basically it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.